Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest podcast and channel. I want to let you know I appreciate you being here and thank you so much for being a subscriber. If you are not subscribed yet, please do go ahead and subscribe. And if you're listening to this on YouTube while you're at it, go ahead and hit that like button. It's like walking into the room and hitting that light switch. We just want to go ahead and brighten up the place. So let's get into this conversation/reality chat, guys. I just listened to this episode from Kandi's YouTube channel, her Speak On It with Kenya, where she was speaking with Kenya about not just this most recent episode, but just a number of different things. I'm going to put a link to the video in my description box so you can go and listen to it if you have not had a chance. I will admittedly say that I've never watched any of Kandi's videos. I honestly, if I've ever heard anything about anything that's been on her channel, it's just been by way of other content creators that may have mentioned something that she's discussed. I'm all for Kandi getting all of her bags, but I'm like, girl, when do you have the time to do all of these things? So, that's neither here nor there. I'm just saying, I just didn't feel the need to go and watch her stuff on YouTube. That's just my personal opinion. But I will say that this was a very good episode. And it's not because I agreed, not just because I would say I agree with a number of things that were said in it, but it was refreshing. I feel that there are some times when I think that when you look at people like, for example, Carlos King, I feel that what he's doing is just a bit too much, where he's got himself as the executive producer of the franchise Love and Marriage, where he's got Huntsville, DC. He may be working on another city. And he's also got the show on the We Network, Growing in Gospel, and I guess other ventures that he's working on. So to see him doing podcast reviews of other reality shows on the Bravo Network that he's not connected to anymore, to me, I just feel that is a bit thirsty. With Kandi being on The Real Housewives, it makes sense for her to do it. So I don't have a problem with that. I just never watched any of the stuff on her channel. But the reason why I wanted to do this episode, this conversation discussing this, was they just literally confirmed everything that I said on my previous conversation/reality chat, where I talked about Sheree's problematic history. And I had no idea that they discussed this because this was uploaded, it says at this point, as I'm recording this, 15 hours ago. I had no idea that she talked about this. So I guess great minds think alike, right? So I want to play this clip from Kandi Speak On It with Kenya, where they're discussing Sheree and the issues that I discussed previously, where it's just not that I need somebody to confirm that I'm right. That's not what it's about. But I just felt that it was refreshing because I've done a number of previous conversations where I've discussed Sheree, and I don't ever want to do any commentary all the time about someone over and over again, and then it looks like I'm becoming a hater of someone. I'm not a hater of anyone. I'm just speaking about things that I feel like I want to discuss. And if it happens to be surrounding a certain figure or characteristic or personality over and over again, then so be it. But it's not because I'm a hater. It's because I feel like I want to talk about the situation at hand. So I'm going to play this clip and then you guys just listen to it and you let me know your thoughts.
Okay, so we talked about Drew. We talked about Sonya. Did you give your opinion on Courtney yet? No.
Courtney? I mean, what? No. You know that's how she is. And then it's just going to get worse and worse and worse.
I think it's going to get worse for sure.
I was trying to help her the next week. Like, the next week, I was like, I'm trying to help you.
Well, it's definitely going to get worse for she and I.
Girl.
It ever gets better.
Yeah, it gets worse.
Okay, well, I got to bring it back to the Sheree situation one more time. Because you and Sheree had a conversation at the end.
Yeah.
Now, the thing that I found to be weird is that earlier in the episode, Martell acts like he didn't remember sending you a message. he never sent you a message. Then he went, oh, yeah, I found it. Yeah, I did send you a message, and making it like it wasn't a big deal, whatever.
Right.
But later in the episode, Sheree says
to
Sonya.
He told me.
Or did she say the interview?
I think it was an interview.
When I first met Martell, we literally talked about everything. So he told me about that, one time he had DM'd Kenya.
She said she already knew about the message.
Later. The interviews come months later, so you can get your story together.
Right.
Right.
She claimed to have already known about the text messages.
That's why I was very low-key and funny with her. Like, girl, what did it say?
And that, it wasn't a big deal. Which I find it to be so crazy that y'all played so...
upset. He was looking for it.
She's saying that
you
tried to.
That was it.
Upset, and you didn't know, and
I didn't
what?
see it.
I guess when someone accusing you of something, I guess you can defend yourself.
I'm not accusing you of anything.
Go to her messages right now and see. I bet she probably accepted everybody message.
How and even daring you to find the message.
Right.
But all of a sudden, he already had told you about the message before.
That was a cover up. I mean, come on.
Cover up.
He didn't tell her.
Get your stories together. All right, so how did you feel about your conversation with Sheree?
Everybody and their mama had something to say.
She's not selling anything.
It was frustrating because all I wanted her to do is have her friends back. I know that's your dude or guy you're dating, but wrong is wrong. And at least just say, you know what? He was out of line. We've dated guys before that. I like this guy. I hope that's not who he really is. And it was frustrating to see him behave that way with you. Mm-hmm. I would have loved Sheree even more.
Bet you answer them all, too. Something like that.
I didn't hear that.
Go to her messages right now and see. I bet she probably accepted everybody message.
Every time we're in a situation, remember Miami? Mm-hmm. I've been trying to talk to you all day. You've been really weird. You have made other people feel uncomfortable here. I just want you to leave.
This is crazy. A few minutes ago, Kenya was flinging her dress at Glenn. Now she wants to kick him out like he's the boogeyman. Which is it, boo? I'm not saying that any man should ever disrespect a woman. But Kenya added fuel to Glenn's fire.
And I was like, no, he's crazy. And she's like, oh, you just this. And then with Bob. And then remember she had Crazy Eyes back. Matt, remember she was trying to say that I was at fault for him doing the things he was doing to me.
Right.
So I've seen her do this for at least years that I've been around her. So it's nothing new, but I thought maybe she would have grown, evolved, and have admitted when someone is being inappropriate with a woman in her presence. Take up for the woman. You are a survivor of domestic abuse. I am a survivor of domestic abuse and domestic violence. Have the girls back for once.
All right, so I'm going to stop it right there, but you pretty much get the drift of what I was saying, because they had what I just really didn't have the time to do, which was the clips of some of the experiences that I was speaking about earlier, where it involves Sheree brushing things off like they're no big deal and having the proverbial back of the guy who was in the wrong versus the woman, even if at the time the woman was not a friend, which at the time Sheree and Kenya were not friends. But I don't care. Like I say on my platform here, in the content that I share, I'm not just going to side with someone just because I may like them more than the other, because I try my best to be on the side of truth and the side of right. And when it comes to Sheree, she doesn't do stuff like that. And it's extremely troubling to be a woman who has daughters and now a granddaughter to boot, and is a woman herself, that would brush things off like that, like it's no big deal, and side with your troublesome PR stunt boyfriend. It's just absolutely ridiculous. I don't care if the relationship is made up for the views, and which, I mean, it is. You can still, like Kenya said, just check the situation or say, you know what, that's uncalled for. You don't have to come at her like that, or you don't have to come at her in that way. Like, no, Sheree doesn't do stuff like that. And that's one of the reasons why I just don't care for her at all. I didn't really care for her from the very first season of Real Housewives of Atlanta, to be honest with you. That's back when I really was more so like in favor of Nene. I was never like team Nene. That's just not what I do. But I was definitely more in favor of Nene back in those days than I have been in recent years due to her own antics and behaviors. But when Sheree was acting the way that she was acting, it was just a big turnoff. It really was a big turnoff for me. And I felt that Nene was blindsided by a lot of it, especially when her name wasn't on the list at the party. That was on the whatever episode that was of the first season of The Real Housewives of Atlanta. And so when you listen to the Speak On It episode on Kandi's YouTube channel, it really is funny. I had to laugh at a lot of it because it's just funny. You just have to listen to it to get what I'm talking about. Because, yeah, they were clowning on Martell, which is deserved because he is a clown. But when they were speaking about a lot of the things with regards to him, it was just absolutely the truth, as well as Sheree. And they even spoke about the relationship not being real and, you know, and talking about, you know, Sheree trying to clock Kenya for the old read about her renting men or paying men to be her boyfriend on the show. And Kenya was like, well, what about what they're saying about her about her fake relationship? Like, you're probably renting this man right now. Like, who gonna rent me, boo? And so it was just like, it was hilarious, just to say the least. But I wanted to really talk about that to just reiterate my points with regards to what I said earlier with Sheree and her problematic behavior with some of these men that have been absolutely dangerous. I have absolutely zero respect for Sheree. At this point, they even talked about how Sheree has come and gone, that at this point, even though she tries to make herself out to be like the number one because she calls herself an OG because she was on the first season of The Real Housewives of Atlanta, at this point in time, Kenya and Kandi have been on the show longer than Sheree has. So who cares if you were on the very first season? You haven't been consistent. Your life has been pretty much a joke, and it still is. Okay? Like one of my favorite funny content creators calls Sheree she by no such thing. You know, it's just ridiculous. Andy has been clowning on her for years, asking her, you know, are you wearing she by Sheree? Because she's a joke. She's a joke, but there's absolutely nothing funny about her problematic standing up for men that do not deserve it at all. I'm just here to reiterate that. So I really wanted to play those clips. You let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thank you so much for being here, liking, and subscribing. This is Beth, and I'm just being beautifully honest. So until the next time, I just wanted to keep it brief, beautiful, and now I'm going to say bye.